The Wuthering Waves 2.1 update has brought in a new permanent endgame activity for players to earn Astrite so we can get some extra pulls every month called Whimpering Wastes. And yes, I know, I sound terrible, I'm sick, but stick with me for this video because I'm going to be giving you a guide on this activity and how you can get the max amount of rewards possible so you can get more pulls. Let's not waste any time and dive right into it. Just as a general overview, you do have to be Union level 30 and start the side quest that is associated with this activity to even do it. If you're familiar with the previous endgame activity, Pincer Maneuver Warriors, it is extremely similar to that activity, it just has more stages. Now, I'm not sure if the location will change in the future, but at the moment, it is located in the northeast part of the 2.1 map. Again, it has its own icon, and you can fast travel to it. When you enter the activity, this is what you will initially see, and you'll start with this first boat here. The first thing to note with each stage is the environment report. This is the buff that you're going to receive when playing the activity. Note that this buff will change on each floor, so definitely read over exactly what the buff does and try to match up your teams for that specific buff. Now, when I say teams, you're going to have two sets of three, one for the first half and one for the second half. On top of that, the first and the second half each have their own buffs, so keep that in mind as well. You can also review what enemies you're going to face on each half just by pressing this magnifying glass here, so you'll have a good idea of what characters you might or might not want to bring in. Just as a couple of notes for your teams, first up, if you have someone on the first half, you cannot use them on the second half, and none of your characters get any type of level boost for them or their weapons like previous activities, and there are no pre-made teams. You can use any preset teams you have in your inventory, but there are no preset resonators, so you are going to need some decent builds. Once you've picked your teams, you'll be able to pick a token to buff your team. Now, once you pick your tokens, you'll want to go in and challenge it and earn points, and the way you do that is by defeating enemies, and the faster you defeat them, the more points you get because you do have a time limit for each stage. Now, what's cool is that once you clear a stage, you'll actually end up unlocking more tokens all the way up to stage 8, which is pretty cool. You'll end up getting better and better ones to help fill in more for these environment reports, and maybe if your build or your characters are a little lacking, they'll be able to help you out as well. Again, 8 is the last one, and this is where the best buffs come in. For your Warn tokens, you get Glacio, Spectro, Fusion, Electro, Arrow, and Havoc Eroded coins, which give a 20% damage bonus to that respective damage type, and you can use an unlimited amount of these coins. For your drifting tokens, first we have the Judgment Lost Flag. So after you cast your intro skill, you get a crit damage increase of 40% for your entire team for 15 seconds. For the Sermon Lost Flag, every time a Resonator deals basic attack damage, their next basic attack damage is amplified by 4% for 15 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. And with the Hunting Lost Flag, it's the exact same thing, but for heavy attack damage. And note, you can use these tokens up to an unlimited amount of times. Next, for your Exquisite tokens, I'm going to talk about this one last because there's a specific way you have to get this one. These other ones can be earned just by clearing the stages. First up, Absolver Captain Seal. After casting a Resonance Liberation, you get an increase to your basic attack crit damage of all Resonators in the team by 40% for 15 seconds and reduces their Resonance skill cooldown by 10 seconds. For the Pilgrim Captain Seal, each time you cast your Resonance skill, reduces your Resonance Liberation cooldown by 20% and recovers Resonance energy by 20%. This effect has a cooldown of 3 seconds. For the Plunderer Captain Seal, you recover 3% of the Resonator's HP per second and deal 600% electro damage to nearby targets upon the 6th HP recovery. And lastly, the Reveler Captain Seal. You just get a 25% amplification to all attribute damage. Now note, you can only use this token twice throughout the entire activity, but the good thing is, since you have 8 here and you start earning them after 4, you can do 2, 4, 6, 8. That fills up the 8 requirement, and then you unlock the big ones. Now for this last one, Assistance Rare Pack. Summons an Echo to support you in combat. It does not take damage from the Resonator and can be used up to an unlimited amount of times. And there's only one way to get it. If you head over to Drake's Island, all you have to do is fly over to this ship over here. And since I've already collected the chest, there should be a chest sitting right here. All you have to do is collect that and it'll drop it. For the golden tokens, first we have the Gospel that receives Harmonized Praise. After casting your intro skill, it increases your crit rate of all Resonators in the team by 40% and your crit damage by 80% for 15 seconds. Next, the Sails that display Endeavor. After casting a Resonance Liberation, the active Resonator's Resonance skill damage is amplified by 35% for 15 seconds. This effect has a cooldown of 10 seconds. And lastly, the Ambition that lies hidden. It increases your Spectro damage by 12.5% for each stack of Spectro Frazzle inflicted on target, stacking up to 10 times. This effect lasts 15 seconds. Just like with the exquisite tokens, you can only use these golden tokens twice before they run out, but the good thing here is that once you unlock all of them at level 8, you only have 9, 10, 11, 2, 4, 6. You get 6 of these tokens. You can use up all of the good ones right here before we move on to the infinite torrents. Now, the infinite torrents work a little differently. We still have our environment report, and we still have to pick our first and second half teams, but your tokens are unlimited, so you can use even the golden ones an unlimited amount of time, which is why I recommended you try to use up all 6 during the 9, 10, and 11 stages. Now, since the challenge goal is a little different and the score is a lot higher, you have unlimited waves of enemies, so you have that full 2-minute timer to take out as many as you can. The timer will not stop. Previously, like with other stages, if you clear early so you can get the bonus points, in this one, you want to clear out as many as you can, as fast as you can. Now, Forbidden Waters are the first 6 stages here, so keep that in mind. If you want the max rewards for the first 6 stages, you're going to have to at least get a total of 9,600 points, which means you're going to need to at least hit the S rank challenge goal of 1,600 points on each stage, so keep that in mind. For the Respawning Waters Chasm, you have stages 7 through 11, so keep that in mind. To get the max rewards for these 5 stages, you're going to have to reach 15,000 total points. Note that the 7th and the 8th floor only have a 2,500 threshold, but 9, 10, and 11 have a 3,500 threshold. Now, this means you can actually sacrifice 500 points somewhere. And lastly, we have the Respawning Waters Torrents. Again, this is the infinite stage. You're going to have to reach at least 4,500 points in the activity, which is just the regular S rank. Again, I'm an overachiever. I went with the triple S with my points here, but if you at least hit S here, you will get the max amount of rewards. Just as some final tips and tricks, take note of the environment report. As you could tell on the 7th stage, it has a resin skill damage bonus, which is why I included my Carlotta team here, but I didn't put her on the first one because I have to deal with a lot of Glacio type enemies, which I didn't want to have to deal with since I'm not going to do as much damage to them. So I decided to put her on the second team here, where there's only the 1 set of Glacio enemies to deal with. Also, make sure the buff that you're choosing corresponds with the team that you're using. In this case, I have Camellia, Sanhua, and Verena. Again, this is a lot of basic attack damage, so I definitely don't want to go with, you know, this one, for example, that buffs resin skill damage. I definitely don't want that, so I chose a more general one that gives me the crit rate and the crit damage bump. So I thought that was going to be more effective with this team. And then for my Carlotta team, again, I chose the one that does give me the resin skill damage bump because that is what her main damage type is. Like even for stage 11, each time a stack of Spectral Frazzle is applied to teammates, you get a crit damage bump of 5%, stacking up to 10 times. So that's why I put Spectral Rover and Phoebe on these separate teams. Yes, they might not be the best for these teams in particular, but being able to add the Spectral Frazzle debuff with their skills is going to help out the team a little more. And since this first round has Havoc resistance, I have my Camellia on this team, and I move my Carlotta team up to here. Again, just pay attention to the stage details and what enemies you're going to be facing so you can clear the stage with ease. If you're having trouble picking what characters and tokens you can use, if you come up to the top right and press popular teams, it'll actually show the most popular teams and tokens players have used to clear that activity. So it gives you a general idea of what to use and what not to use. Again, if you're a new player or someone who has started recently, you may not be able to clear every stage with the max amount of points. This is an end game activity. This, in my opinion, is a lot better than Pincer Maneuver Warriors. Like, even though that one is pretty similar to this one, I'm not sure why this one is more fun. Maybe it's because there's more stages, there's more buffs to choose from. There's no preset team, so it actually does make it a little harder. It requires you to actually have good builds going into it. But if you are struggling on a stage, don't worry. This is why we have a full month until this activity resets. This gives you time to grind out echoes, you know, do some pulls. Maybe you get a 5-star character, you get a new 5-star weapon, you put that on a character that you like using, and now that they're even stronger, you can go back into it and clear it. But I'll quit yapping since you guys are probably tired of hearing my nasally voice. I'm hoping to not be sick here in the next few days so I can keep recording some content for you guys. But that is my Whimpering Wastes guide. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you like this activity? Do you not like this activity? Do you think it was too easy? Do you think it was maybe a little too tough? Do you think there should be preset characters that people can use? Definitely let me know. In any event, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that bell next to notifications so you don't miss out on any other woo-wah content we have dropping here on the channel. If you didn't know, we live stream here on YouTube and then also over on Twitch. That link will be in the description. At the beginning of a new update, we have Twitch drops available, so if you're trying to get some Astrite and some extra materials, definitely
definitely stop on by. Lastly, if you want to flex your pulls, your echo rolls, some gameplay, definitely join my Discord. We have a Woobot channel specifically for that content, but we also have a variety of other channels in there, including PC Tech, anime, and more. Lastly, if you want to help the channel even more, you can look into becoming a member. Now, if you don't know what a membership is, it's essentially like a Twitch subscription, but it's technically cheaper. You'll get access to emotes, monthly badges, and the big ticket item, all of my long form videos early. So if you'd like more information, all you have to do is press the join button next to subscribe, and then I'll give you a rundown with all the details you need. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been your boy. We'll catch you in the next video.